How to use hyphens and dashes. Hello and welcome to Videojug. We've consulted a selection of the world's leading authorities on punctuation, including the Oxford English Dictionary, the Penguin Guide to Punctuation, and Lynn Truss's Eat, Shoots and Leaves, to bring you this guide to using hyphens and dashes. Step 1. End of the line. On Western computer keyboards, the dash and hyphen are represented by the same key. A hyphen is used primarily to indicate that a word has been cut off at the end of a line, but is continued on the next line. Step 2. Compound words. These are words that are made up of two separate words. This is done to avoid confusion by helping a reader understand the intended meaning. A sugar-coated almond is different to a sugar-coated almond. The best way to know if you need to hyphenate is to read the words out loud. A sugar-coated almond is clearly an almond coated in sugar. However, a sugar-coated almond is a bit more ambiguous. It could be a grain of sugar wearing an almond-coloured coat, for instance. Step 3. Prefixing. When using prefixes like pre, anti and non, you can either hyphenate or join the word to the prefix. On the whole, if it makes the word easier to understand and easier to read, then use a hyphen. For instance, this sofa needs recovering. This sofa needs recovering. Some words are hard to understand if you don't hyphenate them. Preempt is harder to understand than preempt. Anti-aircraft is harder to understand than anti-aircraft. There are times when you should definitely use a hyphen for a prefix. Firstly, when the prefix is followed by a capital letter, as in non-EU countries. Secondly, you should always hyphenate a prefix when it's added to a compound word, like post-Cold War world, because post-Cold War world wouldn't make sense. Step 4. Partial hyphens. You can use a hyphen to indicate that you're writing part of a hyphenated word. This is the only time a hyphen should be followed by a white space. For instance, you could write, pre-war Berlin was different to post-war Berlin. Or you could write, pre- and post-war Berlin were very different. Step 5. Bracketing dashes. A pair of dashes can be used to indicate a strong interruption in the sentence, in a similar way to bracketing commas. The difference is that you should use bracketing dashes when the interruption violently disrupts the flow of the sentence, or makes a point that is separate from the main point of your sentence. For instance, no honest politician, if such a creature exists, would agree to such a plan. Step 6. Ranging. You can use dashes to represent a range of numbers, dates, quantities, etc. For example, steel contains 0.1 to 1.7% carbon. Done.